A public speaker. I speak a lot of places.
2015.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Raspberry Pi.
If you'd like it, because if you'd rather, there's a microphone there.
I can speak loud, it's okay.
I hear you just fine.
I'm just worried about the video. So,
Here's the mic right here for the video.
okay. My presentation is about using the Raspberry Pi to do a wireless intrusion detection system. Now, who here's worked with Raspberry Pis in the past? Anybody not know what a Raspberry Pi is? Okay. So who am I? I've worked in wireless engineering since the 90s. I've helped design the first wireless labs at Henry Ford Community College. I got my offensive security professional certification, which means I'm certified to have wireless networks in 2010. I used to work for General Motors as a contractor. My job was to walk around their plants, walk across the roof of the buildings, find rogue access points, and take a sledgehammer to them. So they were pretty strict on the policy in those plants. You rip it out, you take a sledgehammer, and find the person that put it in place and have them walked out by security.
Did you find any? There were?
I only found one. We tried to be nice about it, but the third time it's fine. You know, it became a case of, this is our third time catching you with this. We've told you twice now. Here's my magic band hammer. Smash. By the way, security's here to escort you out of the building. Because the two previous times he went out to, he took it back to the car, was like, oh, I won't bring it back. 6 months later, it's back in place. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Information Assurance, specifically Applied Information Assurance. That's a fancy way of saying cybersecurity. The applied just means I do digital forensics and incident response. So why are we here? Some people are here because they like Raspberry Pis and they want to learn more and something new. Some people like wireless networking and want to learn something new. Who can tell me what that symbol is on the screen? Bottom one.
Yeah, Tetris.
No, you guys aren't thinking far enough back. I fight for the user. Tron. Nobody's ever got that, by the way.
Actually, I did.
How many people said
Didn't want to
Tetris?
say anything.
Everybody?
Mostly, yeah. So Tetris is everybody's first choice, but that is actually Tron's logo. Security tools is kind of a joke. I try to be funny. Sometimes I fail. And if everybody ever gets that, they get one of my Raspberry Pis. So the points of wireless scans. You want to do them for different reasons. The ones I have on the board are just a few of them. The first one is the only thing that ties to regulatory information I could find, which is PCI DSS, which is really just the payment card industry's data security standard. It's not security, it's just a checkbox system to say, yes, I've done all the basics. If it was security, Target wouldn't have been breached, Home Depot wouldn't have been breached. It's a case of just, it doesn't apply to everybody, but it's one of those things that it's an attempt in the right direction, but it's not enough. They actually need a real security standard, not just what they have. But it does require that there is at least a quarterly scan. So that means that once a quarter you have to go out and scan your environment and say, no, we don't have any rogue access points. Or yes, we do have rogue access points. You want to verify your documentation. Especially if you're starting new someplace, you come in and they're like, what do you do? Who are you? What can you tell me? What's all this magic stuff? You can go through your documentation and say, yes, this is what's supposed to be here. No, this isn't here. Why isn't this here? What is this thing? Did we have a point where we started rolling out access points and never update our documentation along the way? Or did somebody bring something in and drop it off? Data loss prevention, if you hire a penetration tester, anybody know what a penetration tester is? Yes? Okay. So if you hire somebody like that and they bring in like a Wi-Fi pineapple, which is a little device that they can connect to and connect to your network and start bouncing around, or some of the other nice tools that they have now that are like pineapples, just smaller, they're going to use that to get into your network and start taking the data out. I had a friend who used to go out and get the Nokia 900 cell phones. I think it was like the 990 or whatever it was. It was part tablet, part cell phone. He would leave them in ceiling tiles, use those to connect back into the network, dial into it, and do his testing that way. It got expensive because he kept leaving these $600 phones everywhere he went and never got them back. You want to make sure people are complying with policy. They're not bringing in their cell phone and setting up a data access point on their desk. You want to make sure that it's basically a compliance issue. The last two are, well, like I said, you find interesting things like pineapples. And the one that a lot of people from an administration point would use would be find problems before they start. So normally you're going to have a wireless survey, which is when you walk around and see where the wireless signals are. I installed a wireless network at a place one time. I walked around for 3 days with a laptop with a giant antenna off of it. And people were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm building a survey. I'm finding out where the signal links are. It's an office park, you know, I'm seeing bleed in from the other suites. And it's like, well, yeah, so this guy over here has their access point, the people across the street have their access point, these people over here. And it lets me find where interference is going to happen before it becomes interference. It also lets me create the survey to set up our own wireless network. So why the Raspberry Pi for this? Well, there's the big player in the market, Cisco, and you got the Raspberry Pi. So Cisco is not a very cheap option. In order to build a Cisco solution, and you'll notice that the very first thing, the mobility service engine has an asterisk next to it. I'll explain that in the next slide. You're looking at $3,000 to $4,500, depending if you're going to go virtual or physical. Now these numbers came from a Cisco VAR that was available on Google. It's like, here's our prices, here's what it's going to cost you to do these. You're going to need at least one LAN controller, and then you're going to have to buy multiple access points. Okay, so looking at $160 to over $1,000 per access point, looking at $1,000 for your controller that slides into your nice pretty Cisco switch, and you've got two different choices for your mobility engine. The Raspberry Pi Model B cost me 35 bucks. Actually, I bought it for 30. The TP-Link, and if you, well, you can't see them now, hang on. This is a little USB dongle with an external antenna. And this will do half of N, B, and G. Power supplies, $9. I think the batteries cost me $15. I've got 3 set up right now, 2 in the back and 1 up front. Running Raspberry Pis with batteries attached to them. And a case to make it look pretty for a total of $9. Yeah. So you look at your cost comparison, Cisco wants at least $11,000. Raspberry Pi, $470. It's a 4% cost difference. Now, if you notice at the bottom, the SME quoted, the service module or mobility engine. I know a network engineer who was quoted by Cisco, it was going to be $2,000 or $20,000 a site to plug those in. So instead of it being the 1,100, it's now 3,100, give or take. Or instead of 11,000, it's now 31,000, give or take. So this is something that, well, Cisco and other companies have these great big, like Motorola Solutions, Cisco, they have these great big things that are great. You can go out and buy these nice expensive solutions. They're not designed for the small people. They're not designed for smaller businesses. Whereas the Raspberry Pi one, if you're willing to do a little bit of work, it is. So what are these Raspberry Pi running? I'm sure people that said that they've worked with the Raspberry Pis, they know what Raspbian is, right? Now you guys know you can run other operating systems on top of it as long as you can compile. So in this case, I went with Kali Linux, which is considered the most popular of the pen testing distros. It's the one that you hear a lot about. It used to be called Backtrack. It was renamed after it was moved from Ubuntu to Debian based. Just out of curiosity, how many Linux people are here compared to Windows people?
Pretty much all Linux.
Yeah.
Okay. So it used to be based on Ubuntu. They didn't like the way things were going with the Ubuntu package management systems and the way Ubuntu was doing things. So people that ran Backtrack said, we're going to rebuild this on Debian itself and use the Debian model instead. I chose it because I didn't have to recompile the wireless drivers for these. If you ever try compiling anything on a Raspberry Pi, it takes a long time. So hey, I don't have to recompile the wireless driver. Yay for me. Kismet, has anybody ever played with that before? It's a passive packet capture system, a couple people. And then AeroDump, has anybody ever heard of that before? A couple people. So that's also a passive system. Kismet's got this really nice graphical interface that we'll see in a few minutes. Actually in the slide deck. AeroDump is more text-based. Kismet does some of what I needed, but it didn't do everything I needed. AeroDump did everything I needed, but didn't make it look pretty. So,
Oh, can I stop you just for
Yeah.
a second? You're talking about the Cisco solution was like $11,500.
Mhm.
Raspberry Pi solution is $470. What do you get with that? Is it a? I mean, what am I buying for $11,000? Is it a?
Cisco's name, Cisco
Is it-
support.
No, I understand, but is it? I'm buying something for $11,000. What does it do? Or I'm buying something for $470. What does it do?
So it's going to sit there and it's going to passively collect all, in this case, 802.111 traffic.
Okay.
That's either B, G, or M,
Okay.
or half of M.
Okay.
It's going to sit there and collect it. It's not going to show up at all. So there's an old tool called NetStumbler that when you ran it, it found the wireless network by saying, hey, I'm here, who do I connect to? Hey, who do I connect to? This just sits back and says, yeah, just tell me who you are. And what happens, even when you have your wireless turned off, so it doesn't beacon out that, hey, I'm here, connect to me, it still has to send packets back and forth to the device it's connected to.
Okay.
So what Kismet and AeroDump and the Cisco solutions do is they sit there passively and just listen to what's going through the air all around us.
Detection systems.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's what so I might have skipped over that. Wireless Intrusion Detection Systems. So it's detecting wireless systems that aren't supposed to be there.
Okay.
So Kismet and AeroDump are both passive and they
Right.
do that.
Right.
They just sit back and listen for it. It's like, hey, tell me about you. Are you there?
Hmm.
No. They're not saying, hi, look at me. So they're much more useful in certain
They're
situations.
passive,
Yeah, because it's passive, it's more useful in some situations than others. So this is what the Kismet interface actually looks like if you've never seen it before. This actually started as a project at Eastern University for graduation, more or less. I was 1 credit short, and this is my 1 credit hour project. It's like I know nothing about Raspberry Pis, but I know wireless. Let's put the two together. We wanted to do something more for radio, but it was too expensive, and took more than an hour. So what you see here is the different things that we saw at Eastern. I've got a box that's called RoGap Pi. It's actually sitting over there. It's not powered on yet. It just sits there, and it's just an access point that people can connect to. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. You see the Plant Secure. You see the EMU wireless system. You see things that say hidden SSID.
Mhm.
It's catching part of the packet, but it's not catching enough to identify what it is at that point. So you know it's there, you just don't know what it's called. And then the secure system at Eastern. And of course some lovely error messages at the bottom. I can do a deeper drill into the system on Kismet. So I can pull up one specific network, look just at that network, and if you look, it says who saw it. Now, it's really small text down here at the bottom, but it's I4, I2, and I5, which were the boxes the access points that saw it. It gives you just one signal strength, so it doesn't let you actually triangulate where that's at. Now, I said like PCI, it requires quarterly scans. I don't like that. I want to know what's going on constantly around me. I want to put a system in place that I'm going to be able to sit there and detect wireless networks as they come and go. Because the problem with the doing scanning is it's always a snapshot. This solution is designed to be a constant monitor. So that's the other thing that you're buying for this price. This is what it looks like when you log into AeroDump. In this case, I actually logged into specific boxes. Based on the power level, the -91 versus the -71, and I didn't capture the third screen, or might have been one of the stack actually. I could actually use that to figure out where that access point was. And if, oh, there's a third screen, -59. So I go from 91 to 71, 59. So based off that and where everything's at, it was in a triangle situation like now, I knew who was closest to it, so I knew which direction to head in. And based on one being over here and one being over there, and this guy being stronger, and this guy back here being even stronger yet, which you'll see in a second, I knew I needed to be on this side of the building going in that direction. Here it is. So when we did the live demo from Eastern, I had the drone 2 sitting in a window, drone 3 in the hallway outside of it, and then the final drone outside in the hallway, further down from the pop machine that drone 3 was sitting on. The professor placed the rogue access point further down the hallway, just to see if I could prove I could find it. And he actually stuck it up under a bench in the hall. So I knew where to go, I knew where to look. So instead of, if you've ever done a wireless scan on your own, you're either walking around with a laptop and an antenna, like you're doing a wireless survey, or some other kind of device that tells you signal strength and you're walking around looking for it. Now, when they see that, and they being people that have put access points in, they quickly make phone calls to their buddies, hey, IT's here looking for your stuff again, you better go turn it off before they find it. So you'll see things disappear. Again, why I don't like static or one-time scans, I want a constant view of what's going on. This isn't perfect, it doesn't pinpoint exactly to that spot, it's like it's right here, but it's still basic triangulation, and I'm able to go to that area, I can get there before anybody calls, pull it out, and walk it out the door, or smash it with a hammer. And that's really the point of that, because I hate walking on rooftops, I'm scared of heights. And I'd walk across a rooftop at GM, it's like, I don't want to be up here at all, can we just go back in now? Yeah, we're at the roof, yeah, I see signals, let's go back inside and look for them inside.
That would be me.
They're dirty, I've been ran over by a robot. So, all the things I talk about, have you guys seen the Linux Journal article yet? It came out in December. Okay.
It finally showed up on the website.
Yeah, it showed up on the website yesterday or?
Yesterday, yeah.
So it's available free on the Linux Journal website. It's the article that goes with the slide deck. There's a lot of stuff in there that I've left out, like being ran over by robots, hate walking on rooftops, arguing with people who bring stuff in and out, why I hate static scans once a quarter, or once a month, or even once a week, because it's too easy to hide stuff. There are some limitations. I'm kind of running through this quickly because I want to try to get the live demo. I'm hoping that I sacrificed the red chickens today. Kismet's last seen by is hard-coded to 10 characters. So if I go back up to the Kismet interface, this final column here, where you've got the I4, the I2, and the I3, that's your last seen by. That's who's seen the signal. But like if you look at the top one, it's like -59. But it's always I4 in the first column. It doesn't tell me who saw it last. It doesn't tell me who saw it first. And it doesn't tell me who's got the strongest signal to it. It just says, oh yeah, we see it with a -59, and here's all the devices that see it. So it's like, I'm missing information, I need more.
Are those DBs?
Yes, negative dBs.
Yeah.
But that's why I mixed arrow dump into it, so I could actually triangulate the stuff off that. But that column is actually limited to 10 characters. So I4 space, I mean, that's 9 up there. Well, 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I could add a space and I'd have just an I show for the last one.
And I4, 2, and 3, those are drones?
Yep. So the system is based off of having a server, which is running on the laptop, or should be running on the laptop. And the drones are actually spread out around. And we'll go over the configurations on that in a second. But it's hard-coded to 10 characters. So it'll tell me it's there, and it can give me ideas of where to go look. I can get a little bit more information by looking at the individual networks, and it'll tell me, oh, well, I've seen by this one, I've seen by this one, I've seen by this one. But you have to have a naming convention that'll make sense. If you got like 9 drones, you can do like I1 through I9, that makes sense. Anything more than that, it's going to get ugly. And you have places that have naming conventions that are 8 characters, that's going to take up your whole field. Kismet's network view, it only shows the strongest signal, it doesn't show all the signals, so that goes back to that problem. And if you want to like triangulate things, you actually have to SSH to the drone itself. So those are some of the limitations of it, but that's actually very similar to a lot of the limitations that you buy from the Cisco one. Cisco's going to give you a nicer GUI, a little bit better of an interface. But you're still going to have some limitations. You're still going to have to it'll tell you where to go look or give you a rough idea where to go look and stuff and play hunt them all. Some of the limitations, this particular setup, because of the card I'm using, I can only pick up AOC11B, G, and part of N. And I keep saying part of N, because if you actually look at the N standard, it actually takes some of the A space too. So you have N5 gig and N2. So A, B, and G, or A works in 5 gigahertz range, and I'm blanking on the last half. And anybody wants to help me out, please feel free.
2.4?
Sorry, what?
Is it 2.4?
Somewhere around there, yeah. But N actually crosses both, and that's how you get the higher throughputs. This will only pick up the 2.4 side. So it's only half of N, even though it says it's N. It doesn't detect Bluetooth. People ask, does it detect Zigbee? No, those are different frequencies. And it doesn't do cellular, which really doesn't really matter. In certain circumstances, that might matter, but for the original design, it didn't matter. Zigbee would be nice because the new microcontrollers are coming out, and you can build mesh networks of those and send data around that way too. Bluetooth, you can set up a Bluetooth network, and I won't be able to detect that, but I might, if you've got Bluetooth plus your Wi-Fi turned on, I'll pick one of those up, and then away it goes. So if you wanted to bypass this, you use Bluetooth or Zigbee.
So would the $11,500 solution detect those?
No?
No.
Never either? Wow.
It might pick, depending on which access point you bought, it would pick up either the A and AC, which is the newest standard. It still wouldn't get Bluetooth, and it still wouldn't get the Zigbees.
But is that a limitation of the TP link?
No, that's a limitation of the access points.
There are some products that'll pick up Bluetooth. BlueSnarf is, they're based on that technology and some other things.
Bluetooth one.
Why can't you just get a network wireless card that has the full spectrum of N?
You can, I just didn't have money for it.
Yeah, okay, so it's just a function of the.
Right, so it's the function of this
TP link,
particular
yeah.
card.
Yeah.
So not the software, but the hardware?
Yeah, so these are the hardware limitations here,
Okay.
software limitations,
Yeah.
and then hardware limitations.
Okay.
Things I do want to test in the future, I do want to get a Bluetooth capture device and scan.
How far does Bluetooth go? Because you have to be close to it.
30 to 60 feet. Yeah. So that, I mean, if you're going to deploy a Bluetooth sensor network, you're going to be spending a lot of money either way. Which, not the best solution. So it has limited pickup, you know. Again, you might pick up somebody's cell phone talking to their laptop. There's a new thing coming out called Kisbee. It works with Kismet, and its whole point is to pick up the Zigbee frequency. I think Bluetooth was, I could be wrong on this, but 802.15 and the Zigbees were 802.14, somewhere around there. I have to recheck the numbers. It's just outside the frequency range of a regular network card. And then this really cool new thing came out. They're $300 to $400 a pop, called the Hack RF1. It's designed for software-defined radio, but it'll scan the entire frequency, the entire range, all the way from 10 megahertz all the way up to 6 gigahertz. So you'll be able to find pretty much anything at that point. You just have to write software to actually work with it to pick up the software.
Sure.
But again, that's going to be, it's $300 to $400 just for the card.
Right.
Yes.
There's a new one that's out in the last year and a half, 2 years. It costs about $20. Goes from 24 megahertz to about 2 gigahertz. So I don't know if it goes high enough for you, but
No, because the A's are going to be in the 5 gigahertz range.
Yeah.
okay.
You're talking about the TV tuners that people use for software-defined radio.
Yeah.
Those are nice. There was actually a pretty good presentation yesterday at the Ann Arbor Raspberry Pi group on that. Questions?
Where does that group meet?
At Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you tried using the pineapple?
No.
Because the pineapple is kind of set like that, where it's highly a router and it does similar. It might be cheaper than buying Raspberry Pi and a card at the same time. Just a thought.
So, one quick thing I should actually clarify on that price comparison. These are the costs for the exact same solution. In this case, the solution is 6 Raspberry Pis. So that would be the system cost would be for 6 access points.
It makes sense now, because I was like, hold on a second.
Yeah, sorry.
Those aren't that much.
Yes.
So how does your security job change with bringing your own device?
Bring your own disaster, bring your own dollars, call it what you will. I know that's really not my area. So you're still gonna have to worry about data loss prevention, right? You're still gonna have to look at if you're required by PCI to do the PCI scans.
And I guess what I'm wondering is, how useful at all is scanning for RF sources when they're everywhere?
Well, it goes back to why they're there. So remember, in this case, we're looking specifically at wireless networks. Now, we're not trying to be the Gaylord Hotel down in Tennessee, where we're going to start disconnecting people's access points on their phones. Marriott Gaylord, yes. Which actually this tool would do if you did it by hand, whereas there's it automatically. But you still need to make sure you have policy, whether or not it's, I'm trying to think how, you may have a bring your own device policy, but you're still going to have a policy that goes with what can be done on that device. If they didn't, you wouldn't have things like good or any of the other, and I don't know the name of the software because it's not my area of expertise, but the things that allow them to take remote control of those devices and do remote wiping from the corporate standard, the corporate control tools. So you have your wireless phone, you have your phone everywhere, but it's going to be based on what the company's policies say you can and cannot do with your phone. If it says that you can't connect your laptop to it during work hours and transfer data, and they see a network access point pop up with your phone's name in it, and you are now connecting it to your laptop, they're going to want to see that, come out and do something about that. One-time scan might not catch that, whereas a continuous monitoring system would. Did I answer your question, or?
So you're really talking about behavioral scanning?
Mm-hmm. Part of it, yes. Yeah.
So why are people activating these? I don't understand the motivation of the people, of the guy who did it 3 times and got canned. What's the gain for the individual that they sneak in these access points?
So the guy that I dealt with, his office was on the other side of the plant. He was a plant engineer. His job was on the opposite, his office is on the opposite end of the plant. There's a team room for operators to work inside the plant. And this is a large stamping plant for flywheels and everything else. He didn't have a laptop that he could take with him at the time. What he had was a desktop that had all the software on it on the back end. And then he would bring his personal laptop with him with his access point. He'd plug that into the team room and then RDP back to his desktop. So he would make design changes, tell it to run on the machine, walk all the way across the plant, look at the part, go back to his desktop, and make the changes again and rerun it. Or hey, let's do it this way. Let's take my laptop with me. GM doesn't want to give me one of this. I'll bring my own from home. I'll plug in my access point. Now I can talk to my desktop back at my desk,
Work remotely.
and I can do everything. And now I don't have to spend 5 minutes walking back and forth between them.
20
So
times a day.
He wasn't doing anything malicious, he just wasn't following policy.
Right.
He was trying to save the company money and ended
Might
up
have been
getting
asking
canned.
about two main attack vectors of wireless.
Yeah.
I was asking.
Yeah. So the attack vector is, even though it's in the middle of the plant, coming on Saturday night, I'm going to be able to pick that up in the parking lot. I now have access into the GM network to do whatever I want on it.
NC design changes.
I have a question though. I know some of you guys work in Ford IT. I work at Ford as well, and I'm in PD, so I don't really know the networks, but we've tried to connect our own computers to the network, and the network just won't allow it. It knows it's not a Ford computer, so how would this even be possible?
Not everybody has that same setup.
Oh.
So I work in extranet, so we do the external connections to Ford. But Ford actually got stuff turned off and set up per MAC address. So if it doesn't recognize MAC address, it's not going to let you talk. There's ways around that. Sure. But yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Okay, so that's how they do it.
But there's some other things that they do on the switches too. I'm not in that side. I've asked that question in the past, and I've been told how they do it in the past. When I was at GM, that ability wasn't there.
Okay.
That's something that came out in a later version of iOS. When I was at GM, it was a case of It was 2005? Yeah, 2005. So they didn't have the ability to turn MAC ports off, or turn off the individual ports on a switch
Okay.
based on what MAC address is
Okay,
plugged
right.
into.
Got it.
So if you have a business case for connecting something up to the Ford network from an external location or external site, talk to me. I'd like
Okay,
to-
well, this was a long time ago. What we had was, we had these devices that could talk to a car, and they were Ethernet based. So we had to download the software in, so what we did, this is kind of a bad story, but this is a long time
Should I
ago.
turn your camera on?
IT is fully aware of this. So we plugged in what we thought was a switch, but it was a router. And then like after about a month, we see all these IT people running around because like none of the computers could connect in the
Had
building.
DHCP turned on.
Because, yeah, because our router was missing an IP address.
Oh, wow.
Connected to nothing, right?
Connected to nothing,
Yeah.
right, so that's how I found out all about this, but yeah, they came and they were able to triangulate it right to our desk, and we got in a lot of trouble.
That may or may not be going on today too.
But, you know, we didn't know, I mean, we weren't doing anything malicious, it's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you still have a problem on that?
No, I was just wondering, from that experience, because we couldn't connect any computers, how could this even be possible? But now, I kind of understand what you're saying.
The two main wireless attack vectors are number one, you plug a wireless access point into the network that you control, and then you can get into their network. The second one is a rogue access point sends a stronger signal than than the real wireless access point. My laptop tries to connect to that instead of the real one, and shares the password, and now I have the password. So those are the two reasons you scan for a rogue access point.
One more thing
on
you
a
do is-
continuous basis.
One more thing you can do that kind of like his second example, you can actually connect that access point back to your PC, which is already connected wirely, via wire into your network.
Oh, okay,
And now everybody's going through you.
yep.
Yeah,
Proxy through the PC.
Yeah.
So you can collect, you can connect data like that too. Again, I hate single time scans, I want something that's going to be continuous. Yes?
So the talk here has been mostly orientated towards someone putting a device on an internal network that then allows some outside device to connect up, and it's the same person setting up both ends of that. I suspect that this setup would work as well for people sitting out in the parking lot looking for open signals, all right? So you can find someone that's sitting out in the parking lot scanning for Wi-Fi.
Let me show you my Halloween picture. It's actually in a different folder, give me a second. So for Halloween, it was after I had already submitted the article to the Linux Journal to be published. I was still waiting to find out what the publication information was. I wanted to do something fun for Halloween. Have you guys seen the picture of the computer hacker on the laptop? Like, you go to Shutterfly, it's like the default image.
Oh, he's all shady looking and
Yeah, he's got the little ski mask on.
yeah.
I hate that image. I hate that it's used to find hackers everywhere. This is the mounting bracket on the back of a 24-inch monitor that was sitting on my porch. It's a mounting bracket for the Raspberry Pi. There's the complete setup. That's a much larger battery than what I'm running here currently today. A Raspberry Pi B Plus with the, actually this dongle itself. And what I did is I sat there handing out candy on Halloween. And where the mouse is, all those little yellow lines, are the beacons from people's cell phones when they left the Wi-Fi turned on their cell phone.
When they walked up, did they see their?
I only had one person even ask what that was, but yes, they
And
did.
he's like, hold on a second.
No,
Did it
this
not
one girl
ring?
walks up, she's like, what's that and what's it doing?
Uh,
It's like, oh, well, I'm dressed up as a hacker, I'm stealing all your cell phone information. So, you know, that wasn't quite the case, but, and then I did a bunch of metrics on it afterwards and turned that as a class project. But yeah, that was my, see, I'm a white hat, it's okay.
Looks kind of great from here.
Yeah,
That makes everything okay.
with a black mask, uh-huh.
Well, hackers were masked, so, I mean, I'm in a suit, I got a tie on.
And it was cold.
It was.
Did it
I had a
rain?
fire pit set up at the end of my driveway.
Did it rain
My
at all,
girlfriend
or-
wanted to get, what?
Did it rain at all?
Yeah, my girlfriend wanted to get on the act too, so,
She's black hat.
yeah.
She had the sense to put on a coat.
So, let's see if this is actually gonna work. I got home today and realized, since I rebuilt this box, I haven't actually put back the original Linux instance that I used to build the test network originally.
Yeah.
So I'm going to feel really bad if this doesn't work. Because I got home at 6 o'clock and it's like, crap, I have to be in, where am I going in 30 minutes?
Yeah.
As you guys saw,
And of course you ran into traffic.
traffic wasn't bad.
I think you missed it all.
Um,
What part of town do you come from?
Dearborn. But I had to go from Troy to Dearborn and then back up here. It's been a lot of time driving
You
today.
can't get there from here, not from there.
Not on a freeway.
Come on. Okay, so apparently we're going to angered the gods once. Let's try this again.
Better get some different chickens.
Yeah.
No disc.
That's the other disc that.
Oh.
So when I originally built this image, I kept a USB drive plugged in. So it's near that one. Because this was actually designed for my number forensics class.
Now we got some booty.
So you're booting a virtual machine where?
On here.
Okay, but I mean to do,
Oh, so this is gonna be the server side of the setup.
okay.
I've already got the drones pushed out and plugged in. I do need to make a configuration change on one of them. Actually, I need to change the server configuration for one of the drones.
So what's the
Yeah,
SFC fan?
It's lightweight.
Lightweight, I use LXD. I like it a lot better.
You know they switched to QT instead of no
Yeah.
GTK.
I've
They
actually got
changed their name.
I got a box
Right.
on that runs the same one that you do, the LCDE. It's just for this, it's easier to grab, it's Ubuntu off of the repository.
What did they change their name to? Oh, okay.
I actually prefer running straight Debian, but
What's the UI these days for Debian? Like, graphical? Is it
I usually
GNOME
use
3 or-
this. I use XFCE.
Okay.
I think it's GNOME 3 by default. But
Yeah, I think so too, which.
I didn't care for it, so when I install the Debian package, I do a net install with no GUIs, and then install this after. So when I say it's easier to go grab this, it's off Ubuntu. Okay.
It's about the only one I like less than Unity.
So.
I'm a KDE fan.
I never had that.
Okay, so that's
It's not 5, I decided there. I'm still playing with it, trying to see. I ain't objectionable, but I ain't in favorable.
So let's make the view a little bit bigger so you guys can see what I'm doing too. Let's try.
This Control Plus will make a bigger one.
Does Control Plus work there?
He's in VMware, so it's,
Oh,
what are you trying to increase the font size?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Control Plus. Control Shift Plus. Yeah.
I didn't think it'd work on console.
Oh, it's not a terminal. That's the VMware console, right?
oh,
Yeah.
It's a terminal window inside.
Oh, it is a terminal window?
Yeah.
Then it should work.
Seems like it.
I thought it was a console.
I feel bad because like things like this just slow it down and it just takes all the fun out of it.
I can see just fine.
It's very clear back there.
Okay.
Just chop off a few characters on the left-hand side. Our view of it.
I think that's the
We've
projector.
always had that problem here.
As long as we can see the directory.
That went away when they replaced the projector.
Well,
For a while.
It's also in a terminal window, so you could potentially move the terminal over. Maybe.
Yeah, but I wouldn't see it.
Whoa, that blue
Yeah.
is terrible.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one, huh?
no.
that blue's hard to read even when you're looking directly at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Set up like ultraviolet.
All I see is blur.
Yeah.
This is,
This is what they're saying, is their screen.
This is NSA encryption.
Yeah,
Well, does appearance allow you to
This is-
change the
This is what the
size?
NSA wants to use for encryption.
you need a funny set of glasses to read it.
yes, it does. Yay. Let's try 24.
Whoa.
Well, you can read the blue now.
Yeah, are you in Vim?
Yes, I am.
Google colon background equals dark. Is that what it is? Background equals dark?
Or colon
Set,
dark.
maybe it's set
Set, I
background
think
equals
it's
dark?
set.
Background equals dark?
Yeah, I forgot that came in. So this is the server config file. If you're setting this up on a drone, you want to change the drone config file. And after we get stuff talking, I'll show you how to do that too.
We've got about 15 minutes before we need to,
Start packing up.
yeah.
I'll try to be fast. And I think I know what happened. And I think I know that's not working.
Everybody catching all that?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
It's like when you see computers on TV, right? It's always
Yeah.
rolling text.
It's not making noise.
He's not pounding the keys like this.
So these drones that you're talking about, are you putting the Raspberry Pis on the drone?
That is the drone.
The drones are the Raspberry Pis.
Okay.
It's just these little boxes spread around.
Okay, so
He's not thinking about the flying drone.
They're not, yeah, they're not quadcopters.
No. Sorry. So the nomenclature for this is actually done by the Kismet people. I would have called them, if it was up to me, I would have called them sensors. But sensors, because that makes more sense. It's a remote sensor.
Sure.
But they looked at it and they said like, oh, it's a drone. And then fast forward to 5-10 years, now everybody's flying these quadcopters around, calling those drones too.
These are nodes.
Nodes would have been a good one.
So you could put those Raspberry Pis on drones and then.
Fly them around.
Yeah.
I had a friend that did that.
Random.
I have a question.
Then-
Yes.
You ever find any wireless keyboards?
No, but I heard that there's this great Java for Arduino recently called Blue Sweep that found the Microsoft ones, and I'd like to. I'm not an Arduino person. Gotta start the server.
Are you having problems with vehicles with Wi-Fi now?
I haven't looked at that. So my day job is firewalls. I'd like to know why this is only looking at the local host and it's not looking at the drone, even though it said
Kismet's been around for a long time, hasn't it? Isn't it?
it has.
That's what we used to use to find an access point to connect up to. Years ago.
Are the drones on your own private network or are they on the library network?
They're on the private network.
Yeah, he's got them all plugged in on a.
There's a switch down here at my knee. Everything's connected that way. Actually, I wonder if we can even talk to the drones.
Yeah, those wireless keyboards.
Control's not plugged in.
No to it.
I think you're missing
Is that, when I do 168?
Yes.
You get 16.
Sorry. I start when things go bad like this. I get
Sure.
"Eh."
Well, we're
That's
all
it.
watching you.
Yeah.
Keystroke.
8. Yeah.
That's
Just
interesting.
remember that.
It's hanging.
Always watch.
I'm wondering if there's an issue with the switch.
Yeah, but he's watching our wireless traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it's not
They're just
collecting
watching
here,
us collecting.
it's actually still collecting on the drones themselves. So I actually have to go into the drone and clear out all the collected files. Which is another nice thing. So if the server side actually fails, the drone will have some data left on it
Yeah.
when you reconnect to it. You can do Raspberry Pi power over Ethernet. So if you want to deploy this out and you don't have power nearby, they've actually got splitters where you can split the power portion off and power the Pi off of it.
Is this a switch down here or a router?
Yeah, that's a switch. This is just annoying. I feel bad because I wanted to show you guys what it looked like running. And I wanted to talk about the new changes I was going to make to it.
So the Raspberry Pis aren't talking to you over wireless, they're.
Yeah, that's why there's cables everywhere.
That way you don't interfere with the traffic you're sniffing.
Exactly. So the wireless router, if you have a wireless card doing the traffic back and forth between the Pi, you're going to blow out your own.
You could put two in there.
Yeah, you could.
But you're still gonna sniff yourself.
You're going to blow out the receiving signal because it's sitting there passively.
That's true.
And you got a, hi, I'm -0. So I feel bad about this. I do have pictures in the article. They're pretty much the same pictures in the
What's in
the slide deck.
December issue?
December issue of Linux Journal, and it's now on the website. And they actually walk you through what files need to be changed. It goes in the sidebars on a lot of the software.
So you got VMware, your virtual network is up?
It's bridged.
Okay, so, bridge to.
His
Bridge to
router.
Ethernet. Yeah, Ethernet.
You have an IP address on your.
No, let's try that. I was just thinking about that.
Because you're not gonna get DHCP from us.
Let's try this open it.
Well, you're running Windows.
Yeah, I don't hold it against me. I actually like Windows 7. They made major improvements to it.
It's better than XP. That much.
The interface sucks, but Windows 8 boots a lot quicker than 7.
Yeah, you're.
We try a config show.
Yeah.
65. 64 is where you just have to.
Yeah.
So it's not sending it out to the network for some reason. I'm wondering if something went wrong with trying to upgrade VMware earlier. Until it started, and it's like, no, I gotta go.
We'll go back to Windows, bring up a shell in Windows, see if you can, see what the interface looks like. With ipconfig/all.
Yeah.
In Windows.
Yeah, just wait for it to open.
I would have done through command prompt or.
Yeah, try it in Microsoft Command Prompt. Yeah.
It's IP config in Windows.
Yeah.
And the space is optional. You can do /all or space/all.
There's 64 for.
Yeah, okay, so good, so that's there.
That's all you got?
Yeah, so try pin 65. Oh, okay. So both of us should
And I can't connect to 64.
Ping minus N, you don't want to be doing DNS lookups.
Well, he put in the IP, it's not gonna do DNS anyway.
I think I'll try to reverse it, along with the number.
Oh, true.
Well, what if it's because you brought up VMware before the network interface was up? I don't know.
That could be-
Could be anything, right? ARP minus A, see if you get anything in the ARP list. It ARPed it. Firewall?
I don't think so.
Anything in Windows will pop up a message telling you, isn't it?
Well,
IP tables, gosh, minus capital L?
Yeah, minus capital M, minus N.
No,
Tables do not
we
exist.
have the module loaded. So it's not on the Linux side. You could ping from Windows to Linux, but you couldn't ping the other way. I bet it's Windows firewall issue.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah,
Windows is
ping firewall.
blocking inbound connections.
turn
You're
it
safe,
off.
don't worry.
Windows firewall.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Well, it could be the settings since you're on a public network instead of.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, it's not recommended.
Are you sure you wanna do this? Are you really sure you wanna do this?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, let's see if it did everything though. It did.
Yeah, good.
I'm still trying to connect localhost here though. It's not trying to talk to those at all. But
You should be able to SSH to it now. Nope. Wouldn't accept
You have
22.
Log in and enable.
You ping it, right?
Log in, okay.
That's special.
Cable.
yeah, I'm stuck in that. Actually, so the drones are set up to turn on SSH and start Kismet automatically.
You can ping it, but you can't go to port 22.
Chris, what do the drones look like? Do you have the?
Yeah.
The
Your
library.
SSH on standard port?
Yeah, SSH is set up on 22.
Okay.
That's weird.
The library will come on in a few minutes and let us know that they're going to turn the internet off. So.
Yeah.
So I don't have the cable plugged in, but I'm pass that around. The white one's the battery that's running the drone, and then the cable.
How long does the battery run the drone for?
That one about 5 hours.
Okay.
So that's just a Raspberry Pi with a Raspberry Pi case. And
Yep.
it's amazing.
And what size is the SD card?
This is the what?
SD card.
It's just a regular SD card.
Like, is it 8 gigs?
Oh, it's 16. All my stuff's 16.
Sweet.
that
So
new
what do
one-
you do
the
to
new
protect the
Raspberry-
drones from tampering when?
The only box that's allowed to SSH into them is 192.168.165, which is why it has a SAC IP address set up.
But I guess I was thinking.
Oh, when it's actually just the fact that it's hidden in the wall, it's in the ceiling.
65 or 64?
65. 64 is the desktop, or the laptop.
Yeah,
VM
65 is
is-
the VM instance.
Huh.
So
You're not on the net.
I give, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
I suck.
It's all right.
No.
No worse
part
than
one of
everybody
part
else.
two of a two-part talk.
Yeah, I don't.
To be continued. Dot,
Um,
dot, dot.
So,
May I have your attention, please? The
Oh,
time
no.
is now 8:30, and the library will be closing in 30 minutes at 9 o'clock. Please be advised that the internet will shut down 10 minutes before closing. Thank you.
Not gonna happen to power.
They piss off the world every month.
a couple times they get it right.
I
It would be interesting to see though. And when I was running out of the house, I was like, I wish I could find my Raspberry Pi B Plus that had the card in it still. Because I would have actually had that stuff on the monitor just running here by itself. But it'd be actually interesting to see if they turn off the internet by just turning off the access points, or if they leave those up and running, and they've got something blocking the outbound connection.
Yeah.
And they might have something blocking the wired, because they have a little lab downstairs.
They might not be doing any of that.
Well, you can just leave one of your Raspberry Pis here and collect while you're gone and find out.
Yeah.
Come back next month?
So they just announced the new version.
I might
of
not be here next
Raspberry
month. Say what?
Pi? They announced the new version of the Raspberry Pi. a few
Pi
days
2's,
ago.
they announced that Monday, I think.
Yeah.
Or last week Monday.
Double
Big
the
snow
RAM.
day.
Is it
Multiple
available?
cores.
Quad core,
Quad core.
Yeah.
1 gig of memory,
Yeah.
What's
and everything
the,
else is like
price.
the Raspberry Pi B Plus.
Yeah,
what's
still-
the
same
price
price.
point? 35 still?
35.
Yep.
Well, everywhere I've seen it going between, I saw them say it's 35, but I've seen places that had said they had it are between 39 and 59.
Well, I think it's the
the
act
hardware's
cost
out.
versus how much
Yeah.
they want to sell it for, and how much markup they can get for it.
Then it's got to
Is
be
it still
plus.
gonna require its own builds of operating systems?
More or less, but it's anything that's ARM-based from what I understand, including Windows 10, if you want to run Windows 10 on it.
Yeah, I did hear that Microsoft was going to have Windows 10 available for it.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I need to get a Windows 10 machine. I'll get a Raspberry Pi.
Could you run Windows RT on it as well?
I don't know.
I thought Microsoft's quitting RT.
Yeah, they are, well, they're putting, Windows 10 is alleged to start up on there.
Oh.
That's pretty cool.
Well, if you guys want to see a talking to trafficking, that one I know works, but.
All right, so we've got a giveaway.
Giveaway?
Thanks, Fred.